Then thank you for passing me the floor. So today I'm going to continue the presentation that Alexandra started for Cofund with a second action that we have within with a second scheme that we have within the Marie Curie Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, which this time is the successor of the current RISE that most of you might know, and that is coming to an end due to the framework program coming to an end. But its successor is called Staff Exchanges. And I will present you today the main features, and you will see that there are slight changes, but not dramatic ones. And we will pass through each of them during the presentation. I'm not sure if I'm able to change my slide myself. I will. Okay. I don't know if it was me or Margot, but it worked. So just to give you the following content, to propose you the following content of the presentation today. First, I will give you a detailed explanation about the action with its main features. I will explain then the submission and the evaluation process. And then I will end my presentation with some success stories, which are basically successful projects within the scheme that illustrate it in the best way possible. So let's see now what are the main features of the staff exchange scheme. The main objectives, as for the other Marie Curie actions, of course, the staff exchanges is an action with a bottom-up approach. It covers all scientific fields. We are organized, unlike what you might have heard for Cofund, we are organized per panel, per scientific panel. As other Marie Curie actions, staff exchanges also promotes international and intersectoral and interdisciplinary mobility through the so-called secondments. What we want to achieve is to strengthen the knowledge transfer between the participating organizations. And the idea is to welcome and to reward the creativity and the entrepreneurship, and to help turn the ideas into products, into services, or into processes. In the Marie Curie Staff Exchanges action, you will see that there are many types of organizations that can participate, from academic to non-academic sectors. And we actually always emphasize and try to encourage that there is a strong focus on the non-academic sector, including the SMEs. Last but not least, it's also a cooperation that happens across the globe. And basically the idea is to strengthen the human capital base in Europe and beyond, and to increase Europe's attractiveness as a leading destination for the research and innovation, and to contribute to Europe's competitiveness and to growth. Let's see now what is the added value for both staff members and the organizations. The outcome for the staff members, one of the main ones is actually an increased set of research and the transferable skills and competencies that can lead to improved employability and career prospects within and outside academia. Staff members can see their knowledge and innovative ideas converted into products, into processes and services, and they will benefit definitely from increased international exposure, which will lead, of course, to new opportunities professionally and to other extended networks. Finally, they can also profit from enhanced networking and communication capacities with scientific peers and with the general public as well, that can increase the impact of the research and the innovation of the project and of their aims in the career as well. Sorry about that. Let's see now what is the outcome for the organizations. Staff exchanges can offer innovative ways of cooperation and the transfer of knowledge between sectors and between disciplines. And it should boost the career, the research and innovation capacity of the participating organizations, including experts in the field. And lastly, it can lead to strengthen and broadening of the I3 collaborative networks, meaning international, interdisciplinary, and intersectoral. Let's see who can participate. The eligible participants. Not big changes appear here either compared to RISE. As you might remember, applications must be submitted by a consortium of at least 3 independent legal entities in 3 different countries, 2 of which in different EU member states or associated countries. Of course, only legal entities that are established in member states or in associated countries can be beneficiaries. Now the novelty, if all organizations are from the same sector, only academic or non-academic sector, there must be at least 1 organization from a non-associated third country. These are the minimum criteria, the minimum requirements for the participation of the organizations in a staff exchanges future project. Above this minimum criteria, there are many ways that many organizations can participate from any country possible, EU funded or not EU funded. As explained previously, secondments within EU member states or associated countries must be between different sectors. And now the novelty comes, except for the interdisciplinary secondments, which must be limited to a maximum of 1/3 of the total months spent under the action. And we will come back later to explain what is interdisciplinary and this new rule of 1/3 of the total months of secondments. And of course, this is common knowledge that secondments must always be between different countries, so not between the same country. Now let's see the eligible staff. Secondments are open to any type of staff contributing to the research and innovation activities, namely researchers, administrative, managerial, technical staff, as long as they are actively engaged in research and innovation activities for at least 1 month at the sending institution prior to the first secondment. The definition of staff stays unchanged compared to RISE. It is according to the national law and to the internal practices within the organization that is sending the staff. The important aspect for us is that the sending organization has the legal means in terms of control, supervision, and instructions over the secondee. Researchers can be at any stage of their career, including doctoral candidates and postdoctoral researchers. The secondment period, it needs to be minimum of 1 month and the maximum of 12 months per staff member seconded. Of course, it can be split into how many secondments you want per that staff member. During the secondment, the staff needs to be full-time dedicated to the action. And after the secondment, the same as in the previous RISE action, we ask that the seconded staff should return to their sending institution in order to maximize the impact of the exchange and to ensure the transfer of knowledge and the long-term collaboration. I will try to change. Okay, it worked. Now let's see. The eligible secondments for funding. So we fund all mobility from Europe towards a beneficiary and a third country partner organization. From a beneficiary to another beneficiary and different sector, it is possible. From a beneficiary to another beneficiary and same sector, but up to 1/3 of all eligible secondments for funding. This is the main novelty of the staff exchanges compared to RISE, because previously you could not do same sector secondments. And of course, there are secondments possible between a beneficiary to a partner. And the sector, when it's a partner involved, the sector is not relevant. It can be academia to academia without a problem. You can also have secondments from an ineligible partner to Europe. Although we are not paying for those, we are kindly asking you to include those secondments in the planning of your secondments in your proposal. So in order to have the total per project. The definition, as I said, the definition of staff, because we are always asked this question again and again, it should be according to the national law and to the internal practices of the organization that is sending. Let's see now the two types of contributions. The types of contributions, they are not changing, only the amounts are changing compared to REA. So you would still have the A category costs, the top-up allowance that needs to go to the staff member. And this time is 2,000, it increased compared to REA. Now is 2,300 compared to 2,100 euros. This covers the travel, accommodation, and subsistence cost of the seconded staff member. And then you have the category B costs. The B1 still stays the same, research, training, and networking, but it receives a bit more money, 1,300 euros. Basically, this needs to cover costs for training, for transfer of knowledge, networking activities, and research expenses. And here you have the B2 category costs, the management and indirect costs. It receives now 1,000 euro, and it should cover the beneficiaries any additional costs like personnel costs for project management and coordination that we have always been encouraging to have in a project. And what you have more, there's the special needs allowance, exactly as in Cofund presented by Alexandra. It's exactly the same allowance, so it contributes to the additional costs of staff members with disabilities whose long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments are certified by a competent national authority. And they cannot participate in the action without certain items or services. These special needs item or services shall not have been funded from another source. That's very important, like social security or health insurance. And the special needs allowance should be requested when the need arises during the project. One tip, let's say, because we often receive this question, how about the money to be transferred to the third country partners? You are allowed to transfer money to third country partners in line with the consortium agreement. Please always pay attention to create one. But each beneficiary, you must remember, as a grant recipient and signatory of the grant agreement, is responsible for the technical, financial, and implementation of the action, and basically of how the money is being spent in case of audits. Now, the main novelty, just to explain you a bit, the interdisciplinary secondments that appeared in the staff exchanges compared to REA. Sorry. Yes. You have, for example, this is the first, we will go through 3 different examples. So this is the first slide about the interdisciplinary mobility. You have this example that we thought about. You have in this proposal 3 specialists in parasites that are seconded from a university in France to a university in Germany that studies mummies from ancient Egypt. The proposal indicates that the activities performed during the secondments will consist in studying the possible presence of parasites in the mummies available at the German participant. The activities therefore include, as you can see on the screen, parasitology. This is included under the first level MSCA keyword immunity and infection. And it will include also Egyptology. Sorry. This is included under the first level MSCA keyword archaeology, history, and memory. The secondments between these two participants are interdisciplinary. Now, another example of interdisciplinary secondment within the same scientific panel. In this case, we chose the engineering panel. In our example, we have 3 specialists in electrical energy conversion that are seconded from a university in Spain to a university in Sweden, the same sector that studies the temperature in the windings of the transformer when using biodegradable liquids, which by their nature are more viscous. The proposal indicates that the activities performed during the secondments will consist of numerical analysis of the temperature of the transformer and the aging of the material when immersed in these liquids. The activities therefore should include energy conversion, that is included under the first MSCA keyword G3 products and processes engineering, product design, process design and control, construction methods, civil engineering, energy processes, material engineering. And it contains also the numerical analysis, as you can see on the screen, which is included under the first level MSCA keyword G1 computer science and informatics. So we also consider that the secondments between those two participants are interdisciplinary, but in total, they should not exceed 1/3 of the total number of secondments per project. And now a last example that is a non-interdisciplinary secondment. So you can see an X. So this is not something that you should include in the proposal. We chose an example of several researchers in neurosciences that are secondment from a university in Belgium to a university in Spain in a group specialized in the study of pain. The staff seconded will perform activities that fall under neuroimaging, study of sensory systems, and molecular neurosciences to improve the knowledge on mechanisms of pain. The activities proposed for those secondments fall under the first MSCA keyword level, neurosciences and neural disorders. And therefore, the secondments between those two participants are not interdisciplinary and are therefore ineligible for funding, since they take place between 2 institutions of the same sector, in this case academic, established in the EU. So we are kindly asking you to pay very, very much attention to this new interdisciplinary criteria when you prepare your proposals. And now let's go through together to the main changes compared to RISE as a summary. So the call budget on average has changed. It diminished a bit, but not significantly. And now the call budget is 75.5 million for 2021 to 2022 calls versus 80 million that we had for RISE. The duration is the same, it's 4 years, but the total number of secondments, the maximum total number of secondments changed. It diminished now to 360 instead of 540 person months in a RISE project. Now the novelty is up to 1/3 of the total funded secondments can be from the same sector under the condition that we went through together, that they are interdisciplinary. The secondment budget is still the same, 4,600 euros, but the composition is different. So now we are asking that you pay a bit more to the staff, 2,300 euro compared to 2,100 euro in RISE. And again, 2,300 euros for the B categories that are split into 1,300 euro in research and 1,000 euro management. So these are the main changes. As you can see, the dramatic one is the 1/3 new interdisciplinary secondments within the same sector. And the rest, there are slight changes compared to RISE in terms of duration, unit cost, and total budget. Now let's go briefly to the proposal submission and the evaluation process. First, you will find all the relevant information on our participant portal, the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal. You will find here the work program, the guide for applicants, ad hoc templates, and the link to submit your proposals. You have also the possibility to search for a partner here for your consortium through the Find Partners function. And you can have also additional support with the online manual and the IT how-to. There's a button here under the support section. And this covers the project full life cycle, and it's very, very helpful for the applicants. We always insist that you go through all these reference documents that I've just quoted before applying. And once you will start your application and to draft your proposal, you will need to complete the administrative form on the consortium composition and EU funding request, which is part A. And in the part B, which is the description of the action, you will need to elaborate your proposal following the lines of the three main criteria: the excellence, the impact, and the implementation that have not changed compared to RISE. Please also note that there are significant changes in the part A regarding the staff exchanges proposal compared to the RISE action in the forms. The EU funding request, mainly ethics part, and the security scrutiny part that is completely new. Proposals scoring equal or above 70% will be considered for funding. Here you can see the main criteria: excellence, impact, quality, and efficiency of the implementation. Due to the time constraints, I will not spend too much time here on these. I would just like to mention, because you will receive anyway the slides, we always ask in the criteria excellence to pay attention to describe the added value. That's very important. To emphasize the original and innovative aspects. The knowledge sharing transfer is absolutely crucial. And please highlight the 3 I aspects: the international, multidisciplinary, and intersectoral aspects. These are all under the excellence criteria. And now under impact, please think about the different levels for the researchers, the impact for the researchers, the impact for the beneficiaries, the impact at European level, that are key for us and for the evaluation for a successful proposal. Sorry, I would like to go back. Margot, could you please help me still remain on the previous slide? Thank you. I clicked on by mistake. Thank you so much. I can do through the mouse. Okay, that's even better. Okay. Please spread the news. That's an aspect that sometimes in RISE was overlooked, and then proposals were not funded because of that aspect. Please propose a dissemination plan to disseminate your results to specific target groups, academic, general public, and please specify how your impact can be measured. That's super important. Also, the intellectual property issues are important. You need to have a credible strategy for managing the IP, and this will definitely get you some extra points. And regarding the implementation, the last main criteria, please propose a plan for monitoring the implementation and for the risks. And you need to be very clear on the parameters of the work, of the objectives you aim to achieve, and the project's overall management. Also, please outline the strong points of each partner under this to get good points on this criteria. Each partner, each participant has to have a good record in a research field, special facilities. It has to have significant collaborations. And a good environment to conduct the research. Also, the project deliverables and the milestones should be clearly presented. And you will also have to submit a Gantt chart, but a bit later when you will be preparing. So after the proposal is awarded, the grant, during the preparation of the grant agreement, you will need to submit a detailed Gantt chart of the implementation of secondments that you are planning. So basically, what's the formula for having a staff exchange success story? It needs to be a successful staff exchanges project. It needs to be a combination of excellence in the research and innovation activities and the quality and efficiency of the implementation in order to have a maximal impact. Now the next call, the 2021 call has now opened, and the call deadline is 9th of March 2022. And the next call, 2022 call, will be open on 6th October 2022. So in general, it opens in October and it ends in March or at the latest in April the following year. These are some tips and tricks, guidelines for the Horizon Europe work program that might help you in writing a good proposal. You will be able to read this by yourself when you will receive the slides. And very importantly, some tips and tricks for preparing a successful proposal. They seem quite obvious, but we thought it's important to put them here for you. And now we will go through the success stories. You will see, sorry about that. You will see we prepared several slides about successful projects, but I would like to introduce you the very first one, the Recopharma, that illustrates RISE at its best, the former scheme, but it's relevant also for the staff exchanges. Recopharma aims to develop, validate, and demonstrate a novel process based on nanocomposites for an effective water treatment and the contamination from cytostatic drugs. As you can see, the consortium was composed of 8 participants, 6 beneficiaries in Europe, 2 of which non-academic, mainly SMEs, and 2 third country partners. And it had a budget of 895,500 euros. This was basically the equivalent to 199 person months. Further on, you will be able to read by yourself description of several success stories that we picked for you, and that are all still relevant for a successful staff exchanges proposal. And with this, I would like to end my presentation. I'm sorry, I think I might have exceeded a bit the timing. And I will be open here now for your questions.
Thanks a lot, Christina, and don't worry about the timing because we are earlier than the schedule. And now I will let Margot handle the question and answer sessions. Thank you.
Yes, hello. I don't see any raised hands at the moment. I don't see any questions in the chat nor in the Q&A on staff exchanges. So yeah, I would like to ask the audience, in case you have any questions, take the opportunity now. And perhaps in the meantime, we can give the floor to Jan, because I saw that he had some questions on the Cofund scheme. So if Alexandra is still with us, then I would say that Jan will take the floor and then raise his questions to Alexandra. So Jan, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, hello everybody. Jan Monique from Vito here. The question on the Cofund scheme was already answered. That was about the are there any special gender or diversity requirements for the Cofund scheme? But I also sent a question for the staff exchanges program, and they are partially answered. The question was: are there clear definitions of what is understood by interdisciplinarity? And I heard you mentioning categories or keywords that are defining those. I'm sure I can find them myself, but where can they be found, these keywords or categories for interdisciplinary research?
Thank you very much for the question. You need, as I mentioned before, the main source of information for any applicant is the funding and tender portal. So there you will find all the documents that, all the key documents that will help you prepare the proposal. Basically the guide for applicants, the work program for Marie Curie. It is here that you will find the keywords in an annex. And you will see also how you can best match in order to have interdisciplinary as well. I think we try to give the best, let's say the easiest examples, the most obvious examples that we could in the presentation. You will receive it so you can analyze it further. Of course it can be in, we picked up the example in engineering panel, but it can be any other panel. The main criteria, please always pay attention to this, to have 1/3, not to exceed actually 1/3 of the total number of secondments for the interdisciplinary within the same, so basically the same type of organizations, academia to academia, or non-academia to non-academia, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we have received a question from Monique before. So Monique, perhaps you would like to take the floor to raise this question. You should be able now to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Monique van Haren, KU Leuven. We have been struggling in Horizon 2020 RISE projects with sending PhD scholars to in the framework of RISE projects, because the rules and regulations regarding scholarships say that we cannot pay a top-up on top of the scholarship that these people receive. So we work with a real cost recording for the RISE exchanges, but then if there is still a positive balance on the mobility allowance at the end of the exchange, we are legally not permitted to pay this balance to these scholars, because in that case we would go against the rules and regulations in that respect. So we would like to know how we can solve that issue.
Thank you very much for your question. Indeed, I just received it yesterday afternoon, and I forwarded to our legal advisor to have an answer about that. my first reaction and the first discussion that I also had with him, but he needs to go deeper than that, is of course we cannot oblige you to breach any Belgian law. But if it's okay for you, I would like to have a detailed opinion from our legal service to whom we send the question. Because I understand it's a structural problem that you are facing, and you might face the same thing now with the staff exchanges. What I could suggest is that, of course, you keep up to the maximum that the Belgian law allows you to give to the fellow, and then the rest you transfer it to the category B, and you use it for the other activities that fellow might be involved in, like in research, depending on how you are going to organize your B costs category. So I will try to get back to you as soon as possible, as soon as I will have an answer from the legal service of our research executive agency. And yeah, I will get in contact with Margot and Nadej for that.
Okay, because yes, we would need something in writing about this, an official standpoint from you, because otherwise, in case of an EC audit, we won't be able to explain the way we went about things. So yes, please, I would very much appreciate your response on that later.
Yes, I see in the Q&A button that someone else also has raised a similar question. How practically have the 2,300 euros to be paid to researchers that are not your employees? If you pay such an amount without justification, it can be perceived by social law as a salary. I'm not sure if this person would like to take the floor to further explain a bit this question. Please raise your hand in case you would like to raise it orally. Okay, so nobody raises his or her hand. I don't know, is this question clear to you, Christina, or?
Partially, but I will try to answer the way I understand it. So first of all, in the first part, how to pay to researchers that are not your employees. Yeah, so we are not asking that that the staff that you are sending in secondments is strictly employed. It's true. We are just asking for a link with the respective sending organization that can be in any form that is allowed by the national law. And still there should be a form of collaboration, because you do not pick up someone from the street and just send the money in their bank account just like that. So there should be a collaboration contract or agreement or something between this institution and the person that they want to send in secondment. And in such a case, then it's perfectly fine to pay the 2,300 euros. Or the other thing that can be that is done in some other countries from our knowledge in RISE, they were not paying directly to the fellow the amount, but they were purchasing themselves. The sending organization was purchasing the travel tickets, the accommodation for the staff that was sent in secondment, in order to avoid that out of those 2,100 that was under that was under RISE scheme, in order to avoid that, they pay also some taxes according to the respective national laws. Of course, we do not encourage you to breach any national law whatsoever, but you have this possibility to either pay directly or to pay it indirectly by buying yourselves the ticket and the accommodation for the fellow. and to pay the per diem and so on based on the justifications that that person will bring you afterwards. I'm not really sure if the question was referring to this or to something else, but this is what comes to my mind when reading it.
Okay, thank you, Christina. I don't see a follow-up question, so I think this was clear for the questioner. I don't see any other questions raised on staff exchanges, neither on Cofund. So I will hand over now to Nadesh again.